Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So today we are doing this makeup right here, and not gonna lie, this tutorial was difficult to do. This tutorial was a pain to do. It was because of the foundation I used and it was so unblendable, such a bad one. So stay tuned to see who the bad guy was. I've been using lately the soft ochre from MAC as a base for my eye looks because it has a really good coverage and it doesn't budge. To set that base, I'm using a light matte eyeshadow. This one is from Art Deco and the brush I'm using is from NYX. As a crease eyeshadow, I'm using another Art Deco product. This one is actually an eyebrow powder in number 5. But powder is powder, so here I am creating a crease with it. I also used a 228 brush from Zoeva to apply it. I went over the entire crease area with it, quite high, and I also covered the outer edge of my eye. Next, I took the eyeshadow palette from BH Cosmetics in collaboration with Carly Bible, and I took that khaki eyeshadow on a Zoeva shader brush. I did patting motions over the lid area, but I must say I was a bit disappointed in this particular eyeshadow from the palette because the pigmentation just wasn't there. So because of that, I changed my mind about the whole look I've planned to do. I went for an entirely different look. I grabbed an Inglet white gel eyeliner and proceeded to cut the crease with it. The brush I'm using here is a MAC 263. It is an angled brush. This procedure will completely clean up the entire lid. The look is starting to look like a cut crease, like a classic one, but it's not going to be one. What I'm aiming to do with this is create like a really sharp edge in the crease area, clean up the lid, and have like a really flawless white base for the eyeshadows I'm going to put on top. I was just thinking that this could be an interesting look, but not today, another day maybe. And finally, after all that cutting out work, I'm setting the whole thing with a white eyeshadow. This is matte, it's from Inglet, it's in the shade 373. So now that we have a pristine white base, let's see what we can do with it. I took here another eyeshadow from Inglet. This one is a matte black, it's in the shade 391, and I'm applying it with a Zoeva pencil brush. The good thing with the white base underneath is the fact that it's going to make the eyeshadows I'm going to put on top really pop. It's going to make them look as they are. So as you can see, I put the black on the outer half of the eye, and I also created like a cat look with it. Next, I took another eyeshadow. This one is also from Inglet, and this video is not sponsored, by the way. This is in the shade 284, and the shade, it's really similar to the I'm Into It from MAC, which I really love, but this one has more purple in it. I'm applying this eyeshadow in the middle of the lid, I'm also going in the black. I don't want any harsh lines, I want like a really nice gradient, and I'm leaving the tear dot area bare. Speaking of that, I'm applying here Naked Lunch from MAC. This one is shimmery and the brush is from Kiko. I went a bit in the purple eyeshadow with it, and also, as you've seen, I didn't step outside the line I created in the crease area with any of those eyeshadows. So that was another reason why I did that white base, because I wanted that sharp edge in the crease. Next eyeshadow I used is this one, is the charcoal brown from MAC, and I went with this eyeshadow quite up high, underneath the eyebrow on the brow bone. The brush I used for this is another Zoeva brush, of course. Moving on, I used next a mascara. This one is from Rimmel. It's the Scandaleyes Reloaded in black. A nice one, this one. Really dependable, I would call it. Then onto the base, I used here a La Roche-Posay moisturizer. This one is the Nutri Intense, and I think you all know by now that I stand by this brand. I really love them. And I'm not paid to say this, just saying it. The The primer I used is the Lancôme La Base Pro, and this one has like a slippery, silicone-y feeling to it, but I don't mind it. The foundation I used is this one from Revlon. It's the Photo Ready Instafix Stick Formula Foundation. The shade I used is not my right shade, but this was not the biggest problem I had with this foundation. I don't even know where to start with this. I'm so disappointed in this foundation, especially when the Revlon foundations, the liquid ones, are my faves. I love them. As soon as I put it on, I thought, oh, this is not going to be it. No, really, this is a fail in my book. It's really flowery. I couldn't blend it in, and it's really patchy. I had some lumps and bumps on my skin and it didn't cover at all. And also the most disturbing thing I found with this foundation is the fact that it kind of bounced around. Every time I removed the sponge from a spot, the foundation went with it. It just went away. So no, this foundation is not good for me. This is like a first impression. As you can see, I've never used this foundation before and I'm disappointed. As I've said, around my nose and on my nose especially, it went really patchy. It didn't cover at all. But let's move on with our lives, shall we? It gets better because I'm using this concealer. This one is the Maybelline Fit Me concealer in number 15. I really like this one because it's lightweight and it's not drying underneath the eyes. I'm trying with this one to add a bit more coverage in the areas where I definitely need it. So underneath my eyes, along my nose and on the forehead. I'm also going to blend all this in with the mini sponge from Real Techniques. And after all these efforts, let me tell you, my skin never looked worse. The powder I'm about to put on top is this one, is the Perfect Match from L'Oreal, and the brush I'm using for that is the Real Techniques powder brush. My bronzer today is from Kiko, and I suspect this one is a limited edition, so I'm really sorry for that, but it's really a nice shade for my skin tone, and I'm applying it with a brush. This one is from Bare Minerals. My blusher is from NYX, it's in Angel, and I'm applying it with a Real Techniques blusher brush. The highlighter I'm using is from the Pro Sculpting Duo powder. It's from Makeup Forever and I'm applying it with a Ziva Fen brush. As a contour, I'm using another NYX powder blush. This one is in taupe, and of course I'm applying it with another Ziva brush. I'm going with a light hand with this one because it's really pigmented. To shape and fill in my eyebrows, I'm using a fave. This one I've discovered recently. It's from Inglet and it's a eyebrow gel in the shade 17. To do that masterpiece, I'm using a Ziva brush. This one is really fine and perfect for that. My false eyelashes are from Dottie Loves and they are really spidery. I then took a Manhattan black liner and I went underneath the lashes with it, so I did a bit of a tight lining work with it. And afterwards I took an H&M liner, this one is also black, and I hided the seam of the lashes with it. To set the eyebrows into place, I used then a clear gel eyebrow. This one is from Bobbi Brown. The lower lash line needed a bit of love also, so I did just that. I took a small brush and I dipped it into that brown Art Deco eyeshadow and I went over the entire lower lash line with it. Afterwards I dipped into that reddish purple eyeshadow from Inglet and I went over that brown with it to smoke it out a bit more. Here I'm applying that black Manhattan liner to the waterline quite heavily, and I'm also going a bit into that eyeshadow underneath, so the lower lash line. The lips are going to be in tune with the eye, so I'm using here a Max Factor lip liner. This one is in 06 in Mauve Moment, and afterwards, on top of that, I'm going to apply a Kiko lipstick in the shade 27. Let's not forget the lower lashes, as I almost did. I'm applying here a mascara. This one is the MAC Extended Play in black. And with this, the look is complete. Thank you guys for watching. So my lovelies, this was the tutorial and I really hope you enjoyed it in spite of the problems. The small problems I had to face, and I'm going to catch you in my next tutorial. Bye!